Welcome back to Camp Dolphins All Access. Mike Cunio along Steve Goldstein. And Goldie, here we are, the final practice of training camp where it's just going to be these guys, it seems like, because the Fins do have joint practices against all three preseason opponents, starting with the Falcons this week. It sounds like everyone's geared up and excited that Atlanta's coming to town.
Well, a couple things. Number one, they're finally ready to hit and practice against somebody else.
For sure.
You got some guys that are on both sides of the ball. The way we're feeling over these few weeks, Mike, the way Anthony Weaver is running this defense, it's been effective. You got Tyreek and Waddle and Two on the other side, so the defense is tired of going up and chasing those guys all around. It's always good to get a better gauge on things. I see a lot of one-on-one drills here the next couple of days. And, of course, to me, one of the storylines this week, Mike, and we'll have the game on Friday night as well, is another one of those guys in the coaching tree with Mike McDaniel. Here comes Raheem Morris, the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. It seems like almost every single game the Dolphins play, there's somebody that Mike McDaniel has coached with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. So you have that whole dynamic, and McDaniel knows what he brings. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting the next couple of days. The Atlanta Falcons defense, where Raheem is defensive coordinator, now the head coach, and Mike McDaniel's offense. Yeah,
we get those one-on-one battles. That's where all the eyes, that's where all the cameras go in joint practices. So make sure you're tuning in for that, because that's really where the fun is, especially out here when a lot of the starters won't end up playing in that preseason opener. All right, you mentioned the defense and Anthony Weaver. Again, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb not out here. It doesn't seem like there's any setbacks there, but we are hearing positive reports from their teammates that it doesn't seem like the drop-off has been that great. Obviously, you want those guys back, but guys like Quentin Bell, Chop Robinson have been performing well in camp.
Well, a couple of things. Very encouraging. Slow that roll, okay?
Yes.
They're not Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, but people are impressed. You talk to other players. Austin Jackson spoke this morning. He talked about Chop Robinson having that, physical ability and the speed. Again, it's going to be good this week to see those guys go up against a different, offensive line and some outside competition. Quentin Bell's an amazing story. This guy's on his 5th franchise. He had the orange jersey out here today, meaning he was the best player in practice. I enjoyed his tunes as well. He gets the playlist, so not that that means anything at all.
Stock up there in that department, though.
Exactly. But here's a guy that was a wide receiver in college for 3 years, switches over to the defensive side, bounced around a little bit, has played a few games, ironically enough, a couple of years ago with the Atlanta Falcons, and he's been the talk of camp. He looks terrific, and I think, Mike, that kind of goes to what a new system and what a new coordinator can do, because there's no preconceived notions from Anthony Weaver. Let me see what you got starting at OTAs, and obviously Quentin Bell's got some ability. He spoke today. He spoke about his speed, how he plays fast. So I think he's one of those guys going to be real interesting to kind of focus on and kind of watch this week against Atlanta.
Yeah, and by the way, for the comment section, thank you for correcting me. I wasn't saying there's, that Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb won't be missed.
No, I know
they would definitely be missed.
But encouraging.
But it's encouraging that it seems like there are some people waiting in the wings to come up. All right, let's stick with the defense, because I thought Mike McDaniel spoke glowingly of Jalen Ramsey. We've seen him out here. He's had a great camp. Mike says he does about 5 things on the field that I don't think I've ever seen anyone at the position do. How confident do you feel in that cornerback group led by him this year, where it seems like they're getting healthy, because we saw Fuller back today?
I'm not the wordsmith that you are, so for lack of a better word, I think it's really been incredible to watch. And really, Jalen Ramsey, everybody kind of wondered, okay, hey, all these guys left in free agency. It was the heart of the defense. We know the names, Baker and Wilkins, the guys that have been here for a while et al. In comes Jalen Ramsey. He's talking about, maybe guys will get in a fight in practice. We need to be bullies. He has a speech for the team that even impressed Raheem Mostert, who's been around for a while. I think it's fascinating, the stuff you talked about on the field. We know he's a great player. He's a Hall of Fame caliber player,
for sure.
No question. He's won a Super Bowl before. But I think the fact that Jalen Ramsey has stepped into that vacuum, if you will, on defenses, who's going to take ownership? Who's going to be that guy? And I think from the standpoint, Mike, of everybody talking about this defense being tougher and grittier, and now with Anthony Weaver, who came into the league as a player with guys like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, you got to have that mentality. I think it's been really fascinating watching Jalen Ramsey step in and become a leader on this team. And the beautiful thing is, a guy like him, he can back it up. He can talk the talk and he can walk the walk, because he's been incredible out here in training camp.
And you have to remember, he didn't have a training camp last year because of the knee injury. And again, McDaniel kind of alluded to it. He's never seen a guy who's injured be that involved in what was going out here on the field. And I think we should have maybe seen it coming, but it was nice to see him actually have a full camp here with the Dolphins.
And I think from the leadership standpoint, you bring in a guy like Calais Campbell.
Right, yeah.
Jordan Brooks is in there. Jordan Poyer comes in from Buffalo, makes those comments about the Dolphins. I think there's a new wave there of new players on defense that are now having a voice. David Long's more comfortable year two, so he's always like that. He's intense even when there's no football game going on. He's just an intense person. So it's pretty optimistic. I know it's training camp and they haven't faced anybody yet, but very optimistic from that leadership standpoint on that defensive side so far.
Yeah, and we'll see it all unfurl tomorrow. We'll see the work they've put in finally go up against someone else. Congrats to us. I think we went an entire episode without saying Tua Tagovailoa's name.
Oh, yeah, see? And you just blew it.
See?
Well, the contract's done,
Put a tracker in the corner for one hit. There you go. Yeah, it's done. We can move on. We can move out. And we'll move on from this episode. Thank you, Goldie, so much. We'll catch you next time on Camp Dolphins All Access, where we're going to be talking about a joint practice. We'll see you there.